Sky Squad, we are back in the building. Back in the building, y'all. Is it me or is the block just hot right now? So I was like, you know what? We back with another live, baby. I just can't stay away from y'all. It's me. It's me, y'all. It's me. I can't stay away from y'all. I just can't do it. So we back and we got to talk about what's going down, right? So if you here, thank you. Now let's get into it. All right. First things first. Let's talk about this new clip that just surfaced. All right. Our friends over at OMFG Reality TV just posted this clip. Now, I would play it, but y'all know, baby, listen, it's dinner time. I gotta eat. I did eat my breakfast after I got off the line with y'all earlier, but I done had to run some errands, and so my stomach is rumbling yet again. But listen, let's get into it. All right, so there's a clip that's out there. I'm not gonna play it because I don't know if y'all noticed, but last week or a week or two ago, a lot of accounts got targeted on Instagram specifically and Twitter for posting clips. Now, typically, you know, these accounts that were pulled are really good accounts for keeping everybody updated to what's going on with the shows. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I ain't trying to, fall prey to that if it happens, if another wave of that happens. You know what I'm saying? Now, a lot of those accounts have been restored, but still, we just want to be mindful of, posting the clips. So I'm going to tell you what happens. In this clip, Chris is finally calling out Gizelle for all the times that she done talked about his brown member. Y'all know and listen, production goes down the line in the flashbacks of all these times that she has mentioned his y'all know what I'm talking about, his clunker. And he never he says it in the clip. He says, I never mentioned that it made me uncomfortable. But guess what, y'all? He could have gone there. He could have gone there, but he does not. All right. He calls her out on it, but he doesn't really get into it with her. But basically, he goes on to say, listen, if I made you feel uncomfortable, that's something that you could have just said, but you made it seem like I did something to you. And Gizelle is like, well, you did do something. And Andy has to call her out like, no, it wasn't that he did something to you on purpose, right? Because that's the clarification there. And that's the game of semantics that Candace continues to call her out on. It wasn't like he had some sinister ulterior motives to go creeping up in her room with her, to lay her down gently on her bed and wrap her in a warm embrace. No, it wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? It was a situation that, hey, if you felt uncomfortable, we can't argue with that. But we got to look at what was his intent? Did he go in there and do something to you on the purpose, right? So she don't really quite understand that for some reason. She don't really quite understand and so then they get into his apology to her via the DMs, and he does admit, I did send you a DM. Okay, I wasn't a DM. I had previously told y'all I almost wish he hadn't done that because I felt like it was going to be to her an admission of some type of guilt on his behalf. And he says that he did that because he told production, I think that's what he said. He told production that he did not want to ruin Candace's night. That was the reason he did not say anything to her on the camera that night, because he did not want to. He wanted that night to be all about Candace, and he wanted it to be just that, right? Boom. So he even goes into it. He's like, he was like, my apology to you was if I made you feel uncomfortable. It was not an admission that he did something to her, as it seems that is the suggestion. And then she does go on to, when Candace calls out her saying that she said that he was a sneaky link and that he wanted to see if she was with it. She's like, "Oh yeah, I admit I shouldn't have said nothing. I shouldn't have said those things." And it's just kind of really like glossed over, like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I accidentally ran over your foot with my car. I'm my bad." And it really wasn't even an apology. And she's like, "Well, I'm apologizing." But she never said, "Well, I'm sorry." You know what I'm saying? It was just like, "Oh, yeah, I shouldn't have said that." No, an apology is, "I am sorry for saying what I said about you. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I truly mean that. How can we move forward?" That's the thing, that when people apologize, they tend to leave that part out. Because see, to me, that you have to ask yourself, is the apology sincere at this point? Or are you just saying that so you can move on and get yourself out of the hot seat? Okay. Mm. Now, speaking of apologies, let's get into the Mia, the Jacqueline, the Peter, the Wendy of it all. All right. Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So, I don't know if you guys have seen the title. If you're here, you probably have. Okay. Mia has issued an apology. Let's talk about it. So Mia says, "First, I'm sorry for repeating what I heard without discussing the alleged with the person directly." Maybe she meant allegations. "I have so much love for my family and friends. It pains me to know I caused so much off camera drama. Brotherhood is bond. While G needs more time to process, I want to publicly apologize for spreading a rumor. It's rude and not very nice of me." My question about the apology is, because there's a lot wrapped up into this message. There's a lot wrapped up into it. So if we look at it and analyze, which allegation are you referring to? That's my first question. So the brotherhood is bond seems to be referring to maybe Peter and G. And so it says, while G needs more time to process, she's saying she wants to publicly apologize for spreading a rumor. Is that the rumor about Wendy and Peter? And then you have to ask, we got to ask the question, what prompted the apology? And we'll talk about that in a second. Now, let's move on to the next one. She says, "Second, I want to publicly apologize to my bestie." I'm going to assume that this is in reference to the Jacqueline. "My bestie, my sister, and my ace. I'm sorry I was not able to give you the emotional support you needed while embarking on a new chapter of my life. I'm sorry I was nasty and rude and didn't find more patience. I know we may never be okay, but I want the world for you." So this appears to be related to Jacqueline. I guess in the posts, listen, she don't have to say nothing. She don't have to say these people's name, but I feel like I would want to know who it is referring to, because I feel like you should add the person. I do. That's just me. I feel like if you're going to apologize, add them, unless you blocked. In which case it's hard to at somebody when you're blocked. Okay, let's move on. It says, last but not least, my G, how did I get so lucky to have a man like you? Thank you for loving me unconditionally, standing by me, and showing me unwavering love. Okay. Okay. That's definitely to G. So we know that. Let's move along to the final portion. It says, I'm on a spiritual journey. I'm not perfect. I'm deeply wounded. Although I can't deny that God has truly blessed me, my family, and my friends, I may fall short at times, but I'm woman enough to take accountability for my actions, peace, and blessings. This is difficult for me because I feel like, in just being honest, let's call a thing a thing. It feels like there's a bit of a pattern of go on a rampage and then publicly apologize. I think for me, I would advise don't tweet. Post about business, life, family, friendships, because the tweets are getting you in trouble. Okay. And it's a lot to process for fans or for viewers when just yesterday it was pop off and today is pop back. All right. So it's very confusing to me. And then I feel like address the people directly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. That's just what from a viewer perspective, I'm like, I got whiplash. I got whiplash. Okay? I have got whiplash. All right, from all this. So then she goes on to say, today I'm choosing to be calm, happy, and positive. Tomorrow may be a different story, but at least I'm keeping it real. I often tell you guys on this channel that you know, Wendy Williams said it the best, right? I may say one thing today. I might feel a different way tomorrow should I feel so compelled, or maybe I've gotten some new information. You know what I'm saying? If I'm wrong, I tell y'all I'm wrong. Okay? Let me just get with that. I don't mind it. My ego is not so big that I cannot admit that I'm wrong. My ego is not so big that I can't say I'm sorry. My ego is not. I don't have. I don't think that I have an ego problem when it comes to what I say on this platform. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, okay. I don't gloat about it, but I did gloat a little bit when I told y'all Drew was gonna get to talking. One of them was gonna get to talking because I was like, I knew I was right. But anyway, back to what I was saying. My whole point in saying this is this. It ain't every day though. I mean, like I feel like that ain't something I do all the time. Like I ain't changing my mind. Like I ain't going in and then apologizing, going in, 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 apologizing, going in. I mean, I just feel like if you have that, if that is a pattern, I think that you should probably allow someone else to run your social media. Boom. Did I not solve the problem? I solved it. I did. I solved the problem. Hire someone to run it that is grown. Okay? That is grown. Like, don't hire, you can't hire no teeny bopper. You need to hire somebody that is grown. But it's really that simple, Tony. Stop doing and saying things you have to keep apologizing for when you knew, oh, well, That's what I'm saying. Just don't say nothing. Like you don't you I say it on this channel all the time. You don't have to comment on everything that people are saying. You don't have to respond to everything that people are saying. And then you also gotta think about what you're saying before you say it so that you don't have to apologize for it later. This is just life lessons. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, so Jasmine says, I believe she's afraid to get sued now that she sees what Candace is being what Candace is being sued for, especially since she admitted in one of the comments that she was lying and that she didn't care. Speaking, I'm glad you mentioned this because it brought me to something else that I wanted to review with you all. So allow me to take you guys over to the Bravo docket. Do you guys follow the Bravo docket? If not, let me put you on to them because this is a great time for us to have this discussion. Okay? Side note, all commentary is alleged. Okay? It's all alleged. Y'all can't see that. Okay, now I think y'all should be able to see this. Let's review defamation elements because a lot of us and a lot of people, I feel like, could use a refresher on the elements of defamation when it comes to these type of lawsuits. We got a good education earlier today, but I think that this bears a review, which is another reason why I wanted to do this video live, outside of the fact that, well, I like talking to y'all. Okay. That it is what it is. All right, so let's review. Shout out to the Bravo docket. And as they state, as a disclaimer, the statements they make, whether in their own media or elsewhere, and any content they post are for entertainment purposes only and do not provide legal advice. Any party consuming our information should consult a lawyer for legal advice. The podcast, our opinions, and our posts are our own and are not associated with past, present employers or any organizations, Bravo TV, or any other television network. The same goes for me. Now that I got that out the way. Defamation elements. So, what is defamation? Defamation is a false statement. So the defendant made a false statement about the plaintiff. That statement can be oral, it can be written, or it can be implied. All right. So everybody, let's make their notes for our legal documentation cases moving forward. People, let's make our notes in our notebooks. And if not, we shall refer back to this video from time to time or back to this here post for future reference when we are discussing these types of cases. Okay. Okay. Carolyn O'Neill says, Richard, do you think that the First Lady Gizelle kept up this much chaos in the church? Coming from the church, she should have been the peacemaker between Mia and Wendy, but her bestie said it should have been Karen. Well, that's a good question. Sometimes I feel like I was going to make a generalization, but I don't want to do that. What I will say is that the First Lady of the church, as many of you guys may know, does have a lot of pull within the social elements of the church, or at least the Baptist churches that I have been to. Okay. And I will say that, as Beverly O stated, church people can be messy too. Okay. So that's where I'll go with that. Do I think it should have been up to Karen to defuse that? No, you can't place the onus of blame on Karen as the sole person that should have done it. And I won't place the sole blame on Gizelle either. What I will say is it was a collective fail on everybody that was involved, save for Candace, because she was not there, right? And I do believe that if Candace had been there, she would have been a vocal participant on the side of Wendy to help hopefully de-escalate the situation. But in what we saw, no one did what needed to be done in an effort to stop it from happening. So I think that the blame, if we're looking at blame, it has to be placed on everybody. For real. All right, let's continue. All right, so it says publication. The defendant communicated the false statements to a third party. So the communication can be through social media, email, or any other means. So that means if you say something, okay, and you communicated it on your social media, in an email, on a television show, in a paragraph, in a magazine. These are elements again of defamation, right? So we look at it as a whole. All of these elements make up the whole, right? So then there's the element of fault, right? So the defendant must have acted with fault. So whoever said what they said, okay, must have acted with fault, which means that they either knew the statement was false, okay? So that means that what they said, they had to know it was false when they said it, all right? Or they acted with reckless disregard for the truth, right? So that means that they either lied purposely or they didn't care about the truth. Now, if the plaintiff is a public figure or official, they must prove malice. So, in this case, since we can at this point reasonably say that Michael Darby is a public figure because he's been on a television show, he is the person who has the burden of proving malice. Thank you for that super chat, Tracy B, 86. All right, let us continue. We get into the element of harm. The false statement caused harm to the plaintiff's reputation, either by damaging their reputation in the community, causing them to suffer shame or humiliation, or causing them to suffer economic loss. Now, it's of note that these are elements from Virginia as they pulled it, right? So, did what Candace said do damage to Michael's reputation in the community? So that could mean in his business community, that could mean in his personal social community. But the issue there will likely be, as we were told earlier, is that there were already things out there that we had seen on the show about him that were already likely or could be considered damaging to his reputation, whether it's true or untrue. These things had been out there. So there could be a question about that already, right? Did it cause him economic loss? Can he prove that? So, in terms of defenses for defamation, they say truth is a complete defense to a claim of defamation. So, if Candace can prove that what she said was true, and again, I'm speculating, I'm not a lawyer, this is all for entertainment purposes, okay? Based on what we see here, if she can prove that what she's saying is true, then okay. Also, it says opinions are generally protected under the First Amendment and are not considered defamatory as long as they cannot be proven to be objectively false. So, an opinion about him is different from stating something as fact. Okay. And so they list a couple of episodes on their podcast where you can hear more about that from different defamation lawsuits that have occurred within the Bravo universe. So I just thought I would share that because I felt like it was some really good information that people. I know that people are interested in this type of thing, so I wanted to give you guys that bit of information. The last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I told you we had a lot, so y'all just bear with me. Boss RN says, I can predict a show called Real Housewives ruin my life in a few years. They're going too dang far with the lies. I mean, mm. So Philly Scorpio says, yeah, that's a good question. Why is he not suing Bravo for broadcasting it? I do not know the answer to that. A reasonable guess for me would be that it is not because it is not that they broadcasted it, it is the person who said it. Maybe. And I think that he will have a more difficult time suing the network. But I could be wrong. That's just a guess. Gold Goddess says Ashley probably received a C&D as well because she also retracted her statement of Michael. Now, this is very interesting, and we talked about this. Remember during the reunion, Gold Goddess, you bring up a very good point. Ashley had to make it crystal clear. Well, me saying had to, but what I will say is Ashley made a statement where she specifically pointed out that she wanted to make it clear that he was a good dad, despite her telling us the story, well, telling her Uncle Lump, I think, or her cousin, or somebody, she was telling somebody on the screen something about a specific situation in which she and Michael were either allegedly yelling at each other or had their voices raised, and then one of the kids had to, ask them to stop or something like that, something to that effect, right? So it does bring one to wonder, was there a cease and desist for her as well, or was there just a request for a retraction? That's a very good question. Very good question. Spot on, Gold Goddess. Spot on. All right. So y'all remember that. So again, this is very interesting. And I feel like when you get into these legal situations, like, isn't it easier to just retract a statement or just say, you know what, like, you got to really figure out, like, is this a battle worth fighting? And that's really what it boils down to. I ask myself that daily about I feel like that is when you get to a certain age in life, and I keep saying this, you really start to ask yourself, is this really is me responding to you worth it? Usually it's not. Okay. All right. We got one more thing to talk about. I know, y'all. I know it's popping McPoppington out there in these streets. And this was just an interesting thing that I felt like I noticed on the neighborhood talk. And I don't know if you guys caught it. Okay. So 3 days ago, and the timing is so crazy, right? I thought it was weird that she had to clarify that too another round because I was like, people argue all the time. So, I mean, you in a relationship, y'all getting divorced, arguments are bound to happen. I didn't think that that made him look like a bad parent. I just felt like they got into a heated discussion and the kids was there. It is what it is. But I don't know. You never know with these things. Okay, Robin, choose your battles wisely. Mm, mm. Who said that? All right. So 3 days ago, the neighborhood talk picked up this that Ralph had posted on his Instagram. You guys can see it on his Instagram. But basically, he posted it's just so odd. So he posted this. It's like a video of a kid saying something about, I guess the dad or whatever. I don't really know. I don't even know who it is, to be honest. I don't think it was him, but I think it was somebody else. But anyway, he posted this and says, "This will make any step parent's day. Keep pushing kings and queens." Now, I think this was supposed to be something that was like motivational or whatever. But it doesn't it feel like, I don't know. The man can post whatever he want to post. It's his page. But it feels to me like the timing, bro. Like, y'all are racing to the courthouse, okay, to file papers on each other. And you posting about um uh, what it's like to be a good stepdaddy, a step parent, or whatever. I personally, listen, I don't want y'all to feel like I'm trying to take away from this man's experience, but don't it seem odd that you posting about being a step parent to somebody that you trying to divorce yourself from, and she's alleging that you had gotten physical with her, that you didn't took money from her account, that you told her that you paid a phone bill, allegedly you paid a phone bill, so it ain't her phone no more, and all that, and you told her allegedly that you would let her file for divorce first, but I don't know. Anyway, the people in the comment section. I mean, if y'all go to that post on that man page and y'all see the comments that you see here, okay, it the comments are in shambles. Okay, the comments are in the shambles. Somebody says, so this why you didn't adopt Josiah, and so another person said that's why he didn't adopt the child because he knew he was leaving. Shaking my head. Somebody else said, how you gonna post this but file for a divorce? You ain't really want to adopt it. It just goes on and on and on. I want to know what Ralph got to say about this. I want to know. I want to know what's going on with Ralph. I want to, because I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to get a gauge on because it's always been difficult for me to understand his side of their situations. It has been, and I what she's saying sounds more credible. It sounds credible because we ain't heard what he got to say yet. But I'm just waiting to hear what he gonna say. Cause the actions don't seem to be sent. I mean, they're not making sense to me. But maybe it's not meant for me to understand because I'm not in the situation. But from a viewer's perspective, we watch these shows, so we analyze things and we scrutinize and stuff like that. So that's what we do. And um, what's really the tea here? Tish, I already got a headache. It's too late. It's too late for me. Okay, it's too late for me. But anyway, I just wanted to hop on here and give y'all this good bit of tea today. I really thought that post on the Bravo docket was just some good information for entertainment purposes. Um, y'all, the block is hot. Hopefully, everybody take a vacation tomorrow. Okay. If y'all take a vacation, so I can take a vacation day. All right. And get some rest and eat some meals. All right. So, anyway, that's the tea for right now. We will be back with more should we get some more. All right. And in the meantime, y'all stay safe out there. All right.